I made all 16 knotted loveys in the Mama Made Minis Knotted Loveys book, and I'm here to give you all of the details. Hello everyone, my name is Holly and welcome to my channel. I learned to crochet so I could make special stuffed animals for my kids, and now I make them for others. If you're new here, I like to talk about my crochet business, all the tips and tricks that I have found along the way, and I'm hoping to put more tutorials online so that you can learn to crochet too. Today, I'll be going over the Mama Made Minis Knotted Lovey book, giving you all the details about everything that happened because I challenged myself 2 months ago to crochet all of them, all 16 knotted loveys, and now I feel like I can fully review this book and let you know what I think of it. Let's get into it, get cozy, grab your nearest crochet project, and let's do it. So the authors, Allison and Lindsay, they are sisters that created this book, and they really have just created a movement on Instagram. I feel like, especially on Instagram with the social media aspect of things, with these adorable knotted loveys. I think they are just an inspiration to so many crocheters, to a small business owner, and to women. So it's been great seeing them just explode, and this book is so adorable. If you haven't seen the patterns, they have all of the pictures online, and of course I will be going over the knotted loveys as well, so you can kind of see all the ones that they offer. This book came out about 9 months ago in November of 2023, and they do have patterns on their website and through Etsy, but this book is currently $17.39 on Amazon from the US side of things. And for 16 patterns, that's an amazing deal. Currently, if you go onto their website or Etsy or wherever to buy a pattern from them, I believe it's ranging from $5 to $8. So again, to get 16 of these for $17.39 really is a great deal. But these specific patterns are not available online. There are a few that look similar to their online versions that you can buy, but these are all their own thing. So you do need to buy this book to be able to do these knotted loveys. If you're planning to sell them for markets or make them for friends and family, it's an amazing deal. Overall, I really love this book and I really love the patterns. They are just so cute and adorable. Something that I found really helpful with this book was the fact that they provided what yarn they used, what colors they used, and a general idea of how much yarn was used for each lovey, but they used Premier Basics yarn. So the con there is that that yarn is not easily available to me personally. I think to most people it's only available online. So that was one con I had, is that I couldn't see the options for other types of yarn, but I mean that's kind of the fun of things, is that you're given a pattern of what they did, but you can change it to however you like. So it's not the biggest issue. Another item I really loved about their book is they show how you can change the sizes of the loveys by changing your weight of your yarn and your hook size. They show weight 4, weight 5, weight 6, and weight 7, and how that changes for one of, I think, the Dino lovey, and the hook size that they would recommend if you were to do those different weights. So that was really helpful. To give you an idea though, I did my very first lovey. I had jumbo yarn, which is weight 7. I made the dragon. So this is, just to give you a size comparison, this is the weight 7 jumbo size dragon. And then all of the knotted loveys I made for my challenge were from super bulky yarn, which is weight 6. This is the other dragon I made. So you can kind of see that there's quite a difference there between the two. If I line them up from toe, so you can't see me. If I line them up from toe to head, that's quite a difference. I don't have the exact measurements for you right now. I think it's nice to kind of see physically how it is with someone. So this one's really nice and big. I feel like it's such a good one to cuddle up if you're an adult. And this one's such a good one for little kids to cuddle up with, and babies. So cute. So that's kind of the weight comparison, the size comparison there. In the book, they do talk about that If you are using super bulky weight yarn, which is weight 6, it's going to be about 15 inches from the top to the toes. And if you're doing the jumbo weight one, like my big dragon, that one's 23 inches. So that's kind of like the difference there. But they talk about all that in their book again. So that's really helpful and nice to see. Something else I really loved about this book is they provide step-by-step pictures and directions on how to complete special stitches. Like the bobble stitch, they have a variety of bobble stitches they use, and they have a certain name for those. So they show what you would do and describe it for each of those stitches, and also their invisible decrease stitch, since that I feel like varies on patterns and how people associate it, so they are very clear in what they do. And there's some special instructions on assembling and finishing, such as putting, like, you crochet some of the items in, like their ears, have to sew together the body at one point, so they show instructions and pictures for that. They also go over how to knot the legs, but it is all through pictures, so you know, you can only go so far from pictures. They even have a tutorial on embroidering eyes, so I thought that was really nice touch, because embroidering eyes is a skill, and it's really nice to have it like spelled out for you on how to do it with pictures. A few of the cons that I have for this book, because nothing is perfect, there's always a few things, but they don't have any like video instructions. I really wish there was some sort of QR code where it would have sent you to like a link with some video instructions. Specifically attaching the head to the body, I think is tricky, especially for a beginner crocheter. But even as someone who's done it for a while, I think that it's helpful to see that video. And I did myself personally find that they had a video on their Instagram feed doing that, but whenever I wanted to see what they did again, because I would need a reminder every now and then, I always was like, wait, where was this video? I can't remember. Like, Instagram makes it tricky to search for things, so having a link where it would send you to that would have been really helpful. For example, I made this bear. It was my third knotted lovey I just made for fun. It was not part of my challenge. It was just me like trying this book out. Oop, I have a little string here I need to detach. Probably didn't do that correctly, but if you can't tell, his head is put on crooked. I didn't realize that could happen until it happened. Like, I thought I was doing the steps correctly, and then I realized that can happen. I mean, he has kind of a cute head tilt, right? Cute. So yeah, so he is probably just gonna be my cute little snuggler at home forever, because most people probably don't want a crooked head. But I learned a lot from that experience, so you can learn from mine. Make sure you're very centered on the head when you attach or start the body. Another con that I found with this book is I didn't get any specific instructions on how much yarn they used for each knotted lovey versus like how much color they used for each one. So when I was trying to come up with my color palette for this challenge, I was not sure how much yarn I needed, and so that is something I will provide for you. So it's okay, you will now know. 2 months ago, I decided to make every knotted lovey. I wanted to use yarn that was readily available to me, and I personally just love chenille yarn, so I decided to use Michael's Store Yarn Loops and Threads brand, and there's Sweet Snuggles Light and Chenille Home Slim. They're both chenille yarn, that's weight 6, and they have a variety of colors, and I wanted to go with those colors and try to figure out how I could use them all for this. I did have to think outside the box a little bit and change things around, because they don't have as many or the right colors that Premier Basics does. So it was a bit of a challenge. I also decided to embroider all of the eyes. This is a new skill I was trying out, and I wanted to get better at it. So that's where I'm at with the challenge. That was like the rules I set for myself. And then I wanted to try and complete all of them, obviously. Because I decided to embroider the eyes though, that does add time to the knotted lovey. So I will be telling you how much time it took. For most of these, I did time myself, a few I didn't, but I would expect 20 to 30 extra minutes would be added on to each of these knotted loveys because of the embroidery of the eyes. So if you're not going to embroider the eyes, you can definitely take off 20, maybe 30 minutes, and you'll be done a lot faster. In general, I would say that the head and the ears would take me about an hour, the body and the legs would take me about an hour, and then any other extra parts such as the arms, maybe the tail, sewing things on would add at least 30 minutes, and then the eyes would add maybe another 30 minutes. So on average, I would say 3 hours is about what a knotted lovey would take, but some of them take longer because there's more things to crochet and so on, and some are less and they're a lot more simpler. So I'll provide that if you want to know the details for each one. Also, keep in mind that these were basically my first time making these. There were a few I made prior to this challenge, like 3, but most of them it was my first time making, and I was still learning the pattern and like the way they did things at the start. By the end, I was like, okay, I get this. I kind of see the pattern here. I understand what they're doing. But at the start, you're a lot slower. And so keep that in mind as well. You might be faster or you might be slower depending on if you've made one of these or not. My last general comment before I dive into everything is the hook size. Allie and Lindsay recommend a 7mm hook and an 8mm hook. They change between the two for their patterns. I found with Chanel yarn that a 6.5mm hook worked better than a 7, but that the 8 worked fine when it called for an 8. So I did 6.5mm hook for most of them, but I just found that there were a little bit more gaps when I used 7mm hook. So definitely feel free to like play around with the hook size, because if you're using different yarn than what they used, you might need to play around with that. Once you understand the general steps to make these knotted loveys, I would say they're fairly easy after that point. But if you're a beginner, doing these for the first time is very tricky. That's how the dragon was for me, and I undid a lot and redid things because I wasn't sure if I was doing it right and if it looked correct, but I still did it as a beginner. I made this one, I think, a month into really my crochet journey. So it can be done. It can be done. But I would say when I was doing this challenge, you just got a little sneak peek of my knotted loveys. So we'll just kind of clear this out a little bit more. So it's definitely possible to do this as a beginner, but I did the challenge when I was a little bit further into crochet and had made a lot more stuffies and other types of patterns, so it became a lot easier to crochet these knotted loveys. But if there's anything particular with the knotted lovey that was like difficult, I will bring that up so that you have an understanding of that. First, I'm going to go over the colors that I use in case you want to follow the same color palette and do the same thing as me. I will also break it down later by each knotted lovey of how much I used. I'm going to tell you right now how much I used for all of that color, so that if you want to do this, you can know how much you need to buy. And each of these skeins are about 250 grams, so I'm going to go off of that to decide if you need to buy one or more skeins. Okay, first off, I used Chanel Home Slim Agave. This is like a green color, and I definitely needed green for the toad. I wanted to kind of keep green to be the theme for the toad, and that was really the only one I definitely needed green for, so I did what they did and used the green also for the dinosaur. And I used a total of 171 grams for those 2 knotted loveys, so you only need 1 skein of the agave. Next, this one's Chanel Home Slim Sand. It's like a really lightish brown tan color. It's so pretty. I love this one. I used a total of 135 grams for this one, so you'll only need 1 skein, and I use this for the monkey and the fawn for like the biggest projects, and then sometimes it was used for paws on some other smaller projects. Next, I have Sweet Snuggles Light Gray. This one I used a lot. I used 489 grams total for the gray, so you definitely want to buy 2 skeins for gray. I used this on 8 different knotted loveys. It was helpful in so many ways. I mean, the elephant, the hippo, obviously, but like in the paws, in the snouts, the dino spikes, the Yeti accents, like all of that was with gray. Now for Chanel Home Slim Mustard, more of a yellowish color. This is what I used for the dragon, a little bit on the goose, and then a little bit on the unicorn. I only used 158 grams, so just 1 skein for this one. Okay, next is Chanel Home Slim Cream. It looks like a white, but there you go, it's a creamier white. And I used 267 grams of this, so just barely over a skein of yarn. I used this for a little bit of the fawn. I used it for the rabbit, the yeti, the dragon, and then the goose. The goose was the biggest one I used this for, but otherwise it was mainly accents. Next is Chenille Home Slim White. Super bright white. Okay, let's just compare these two. There's cream and there's white. So there you can see the difference. I used 371 grams. So definitely get two, so bright. To get 2 skeins of this one, I used this on 9 of the Loveys. So it was helpful to have for like the unicorn, but accents like with the yeti or the fox. I'll show you what I did with the fox with this. So I used that much for this. Okay, next I used Sweet Snuggles Light Blush, which I just love this pink. Isn't it so pretty? It's such a soft light pink color. Love it. I used 240 grams of this, so just barely under a skein of yarn, which is 250 grams. So that was really nice, and hopefully you can do the same where you don't need more. Obviously, different tensions and hook sizes will vary potentially how much yarn you use, but just to give you an idea, that's how much I used for this. I used this for the unicorn, the lamb, and the bunny. Okay, next up is Chenille Home Slim Navy. I don't have much of it left, but there you go. That's the navy, a very deep dark blue. I used 164 grams of this, so you only need 1 skein, but I used it for the panda, the penguin, and a little bit of the yeti. And by the way, the penguin is actually a mod version for the chick. I'll talk about that when I get to my penguin lovey. Lastly, which means I've used 9 colors, is the Chenille Home Slim Terracotta color. This is kind of like the brown that I would use for anything that needed brown, such as the monkey or the cows. I used 196 grams of this, so you just need 1 skein. And it's a really nice brown. I feel like it worked really, really well with everything. That brings my total yarn to be 9 skeins, or 9 different colors is what I should say. I used 9 different colors. Most of them you just need 1 skein, but for 3 of the colors I needed 2 skeins. That was the gray, the cream, and the white. Now let's get into the fun and go into each knotted lovey. Up first is Dash Dino. Oh, just a classic. So cute, so cute. So of the Chenille Home Slim Agave and the Sweet Snuggles Light Gray, those were the only 2 colors I used. So for the main color, the Agave color, I used 141 grams of yarn. And for the spikes, I used 24 grams. So if you want to make the dino, that's what you got to use. The total time was 3 hours and 45 minutes, which is longer than usual, mainly because of the spikes. You have to make 8 spikes, so also sew all of those spikes on, so it definitely takes some time to do that. But I love Dash Dino. I love the different options of colors because it's a dinosaur. You can do any color you want, any color of spikes. So many fun options to do with Dash Dino. Next up is Dusty Dragon. Oh, he's so cute. I love Dusty. Dusty Dragon, I decided to use the mustard color, which is different from the book. They did more of a reddish color. So I went for the yellow color because of Fourth Wing. If you know Fourth Wing, the book, there's a dragon that is like a golden dragon. So that was my inspiration. So I used 116 grams of Chenille Home Slim Mustard and 21 grams for the cream. I did Chenille Home Slim Cream for the wings and just little accents and scales. These were all bobble stitches, which was really nice. You didn't have to make individual ones to sew on, so that made it a little bit faster, which I liked. So my total time for Dusty Dragon was 3.5 hours, mainly because of the wings and the tail. Those were like the additional pieces that take up more time. Most of this pattern really isn't too difficult, but I will say the wings are like a 2-dimensional crochet, so it's not like amigurumi. You have to do more like rows. So if you're not used to doing rows with crochet, then that's going to be new and a little bit more tricky. Next up is Una Unicorn. Love how cute and feminine Una Unicorn can be. So with her, I used 4 different colors. I'm gonna have to use my notes and look down to keep track of how many colors, how much I used for each one. So I used 23 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Blush. That was used for the muzzle or snout and the hair and the tail. And then I used 20 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Gray. That was for the paws. I used 5 grams of Chenille Home Slim Mustard for the unicorn. What's this called? The horn? And 91 grams for the body and the head, the white. And Uni Unicorn took me about 3.5 hours to make. I do think that the hair was very unique. They do have a unicorn lovey on their website that has different hair, and I like that one a lot more, but this was fun to try out and different, but I do feel like mine looks different than theirs, so I don't know if I did something wrong. But that would be the only part I would just make sure you're really careful with, is making sure you just double check how you're doing the hair. I love the tail, it's just so cute. Next up is Yves Yeti, which honestly could be considered a monster, but here is my Yves Yeti. I just love that it's like a little snow monster. I just kept with that theme. I used gray and the navy and the cream colors. So for the gray, I used 53 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Gray. So that was for the face, the ears, and these accents. I used 69 grams for the cream, which was just the body and a little bit of the head. 7 grams of the light white, that was for the nails. So that's why I really think that it's nice to have a white color, because there's a lot of them that have like those nails and those toenails. So yeah. And 25 grams of the navy. Yves Yeti actually forgot to time myself, so I'm not sure how long he actually took me, but I would guess about 3.5 hours. His arms do take a little bit more time. They're long and you have the color changes, so I would add a little bit of time there over the 3 hours. The only tricky part that I found, obviously there's the color changes, so you need to be comfortable with that. You need to be comfortable doing color changes with these little like toenails, and I mean this isn't a lot of them. But the only tricky part to me was his, or her I guess, mouth, that I'm not even really sure if I did it right, but I think it turned out pretty cute, so there you go. Next up is Penn Penguin. I just love Penn Penguin, how cute! So this is originally Ceecee Chick, but I found the free mod version on their website. You can go down and like add a free, it's $0 to get the mod, and you add it to your cart and buy it and download it. And basically, I mean, I haven't compared them side to side, but it should be basically the same head, but they give you the color modifications to make it look like a penguin, right? And then the body was the exact same pattern. I just followed what was in the book. So you do need the book to be able to make this pattern. I did Penn Penguin. I just thought it would be cute to make a little penguin, and oh my gosh, so cute. Now this one is a lot smaller than like the normal body type of the Loveys. For example, here is Yves Yeti, and here's the penguin. So the penguin and the chick are going to be smaller on purpose. Now as far as the yarn that I used, I ended up using 6 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light White, 50 grams of Chanel Home Slim Navy, 59 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Gray. So the gray I used for the beak and the body, the white was just the face, and then the navy was the back of the head and the feet. For Penn Penguin, he only took me 2 hours and 50 minutes, so definitely a quicker make, and probably would be faster if I didn't have the color changes. So that's awesome. The trickiest part was figuring out the feet. I think this was the first time I had to figure out the feet was with this pattern, because these feet are in a couple of the Loveys, so I wasn't really sure how to do it the first time around. But as I did it and then did it for another one, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is how you do it. Next up is Cope Cow. Oh my gosh, I just love Cope Cow. Ah, such a classic, such a classic. I feel like this is so popular and I see this everywhere. So here's Cope Cow. I used Sweet Snuggles Light White and only used 10 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light White. So those are all the little spots. And then I used 90 grams of the Chanel Home Slim Terracotta. And then I used gray for the paws and the nose, snout, along with like the little nubbins up here for the head. That was a total of 27 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Gray. Cope Cow, I did not time myself, but again, I would estimate 3.5 hours, maybe even longer just because of the color changes. But yeah, 3.5, maybe longer. The only tricky part with this pattern is all of the different color changes here. So I would definitely recommend that you're comfortable with that and your yarn will get all tangled up, but so cute, so worth it, love it, yes. Next up is one that quickly became a favorite of mine, and I was not expecting that. But Goldie Goose, oh my gosh, it just looks like I need a little nursery rhyme Goldie Goose in my room with like little nursery books and like always have her around for nurseries, I don't know. But I love Goldie Goose, and so Goldie Goose was super different than the other patterns, and it was really fun to make because of the difference. This is the only knotted lovey where the head is continual kind of crochet through the body, where the other ones you actually have, you make the head, you complete the head, and then you crochet the body onto the head. But this one's a continuation, so you go from the beak all the way down to one of the legs, and then you have to reattach to make the other leg, and it was just so fun to make. And I don't think I timed myself for this one. I would guess it took me about 2.5 hours to make this Goldie Goose because it was just so fast, basically one color, and you just continue on. So she turned out so cute. I have seen other versions of people making this, like into a mallard or even a flamingo, so lots of variety here. I just kept with the classic. I just really think they're all so cute, but wanted to stick with the goose. So I used 119 grams of the Chanel Home Slim Cream. I decided to do cream for her. And 37 grams of Chanel Home Slim Mustard. Okay, next up is Lettie Lamb. Oh my gosh, stop it. So in their book, they actually did like a grayish body, but I decided to go kind of girly and feminine. I did a pinkish body, and I think it turned out really cute. I love the color scheme together. So Lettie Lamb was super fun to make, and actually I learned a new stitch from Lettie Lamb, so that was fun, and I was able to follow the pictures very, very well. I love learning new things, so just a little bit different than the other Loveys because of the special stitch that I used. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for like a beginner because there's like a special stitch that you're learning, but you know, YouTube videos, you'll learn. That's how I did it. I do feel like the head is like crooked in some way with the ears. I tried to center it on the body and I feel like I did, but it just doesn't seem quite right. I don't know, maybe I like added a row to the face because I feel like the face is really big as well. So something I feel like is a little off with this little lamb, and I tried the nose multiple times at different placements, but in the end this is where I felt like she looked the best. So I don't know, she just looks a little different. But really, other than the special stitch, like she was fairly easy, and the stitch was very well described very clearly in the pictures, so it was not too bad. I ended up using 65 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light White and 67 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Blush. And Lettie the Lamb took me 3 hours and 2 minutes, so about 3 hours. Also, to compare body sizes, this I think is considered the smaller body size because she's a little bit shorter than the cow. So maybe that's why her head looks bigger, because it's like the same head shape. I don't know. Next up is Ezra Elephant. I love Ezra. Oh my gosh, I love Ezra. I feel like it turned out so cute. I don't know what I did with the eyes. They're amazing. Aren't they amazing? I can't believe how good they look. But anyways, I just can't handle it. I think he might be my favorite. I used 150 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Gray and then 13 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light White for the little toenails. There's also the tail. In the book they recommended like a darker gray, but I didn't have that, so I just used the same gray color. And I think it looks great. Total time was 3 hours and 20 minutes. I don't have any tricky parts to this. I felt like he was very clearly done, very good, beginner friendly one to start with. Next is Hendrix Hippo. I also used Sweet Snuggles Light Gray for Hendrix. I love how he turned out. Really great for like neutral themes for like babies or kids, animal themed, zoo themed. I used 123 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Gray and 8 grams for Sweet Snuggles Light White for the little toenails. Total time was 3 hours and 15 minutes. And I can't think of anything that was tricky with this one either. Very, very simple and easy. He was a great beginner friendly Lovey to work with. Next is Max the Monkey. Yes, I love Max the Monkey. Okay, so Max the Monkey, I also love how the eyes turned out for him. So cute. I also, shout out to ND Made, or Nicole. Her Instagram handle is ENDEEMADE. ND Made. She has a really great guide for these eyes. So eventually I bought her guide to figure out how to embroider eyes because I was struggling. So yeah, the elephant, the monkey, a lot of them are from her guide. So if you need a good eye guide, definitely check that out on Etsy. But anyways, I used terracotta and the sand color. So the terracotta, I used 106 grams for Chanel Homeslim terracotta, and then for the sand of everything else, the accents, I used 47 grams of Chanel Homeslim sand. I can't think of anything tricky with this one either. I feel like this was a great beginner-friendly pattern. So I ended up making these all out of order. Sorry, my sunlight is dying, so hopefully I can finish this before my sunlight goes away. But I finished these all out of order, and this was the first one I decided to do. This is Penn Panda, so cute. I did his eyes, the very first embroidered eyes I did. I think they turned out good, but I was trying things out. I tried a thick plush yarn. This is actually Chanel yarn for the eyes, when usually I use Wait For yarn. Now, that's what I do. But I was just trying different things out. Anyways, this is Penny the Panda. Penny the Panda! I used 58 grams of the Sweet Snuggles Light White and 89 grams of the navy, and I just think they're so cute. I love the blue and the white. Trickiest part with Penny Panda is the eye aspect. You crochet these on, not crochet, you make these and then you sew them on, so that was just a different thing, but I think it's so cute. I love how it came out. But this was, because this was like my first lovey, and like that eye aspect was new skill to me. This actually took me 4.5 hours. I think this is my longest one yet, but it was like the first one, so I was like kind of getting into the groove, and then I started getting faster. Okay, this is definitely another one of my favorites, the Fawn. I love this fawn. I think she is so adorable. I just love the little spots of cream. I used the Chanel Homeslim sand, and then I used the cream and the white. So white is here on the face, cream is the accents of the hands, the paws, and the stuff up top. I do think I made a mistake somewhere, because this should be two separate, like I think it should be like every other is a cream, but I somehow got these ones lined up, and I do think I could just use like a thread and a needle to kind of change that, and one day I probably will. But still, like, if you didn't know that mistake, I think you would think, like, this is so cute, right? This one, I used 88 grams of Chanel Homeslim sand, I used 13 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light White, and 28 grams of Chanel Homeslim cream. Took me 3 hours and 10 minutes, really not bad for this lovey. Super fast. You just have to do a few color changes here, and like I said, I would kind of look at the face as you're doing it to see if they are kind of, are they lining up or are they going every other, because I should have done that and I didn't. But so adorable. I feel like her nose looks kind of crooked here, but like in person it doesn't really seem like it. So also you're gonna learn how to tack the ears back. They want to kind of go forward, but they talk about that in the book, so no worries there. So I wanted to go different with the fox, and I decided to do a winter theme, and I did a white fox. I love how this fox turned out. So I used a lot of white. This is Sweet Snuggles Light White. I used 113 grams of the white. I used 19 grams of the Sweet Snuggles Light Gray. There is this big long tail, and then I decided to add fur accents because I had fur yarn, so I thought that that would be kind of fun. But you obviously can just like do white or gray, whatever you want to do. This fox took me 3.5 hours. Oh, it's getting so dark that the light just turned on, so hopefully I can finish this up fast. But yeah, so this took me 3.5 hours to make. I can't think of anything tricky with this one. He was a really good one. 2 more loveys to go, almost done. Here we have Rye Rabbit. I decided to make it feminine and pink, and I just love how she turned out. So I used Sweet Snuggles Light Blush along with cream for the ears and the tail and the bottom feet paws. I used 150 grams of Sweet Snuggles Light Blush and 30 grams of Chanel Homeslim cream. The only issue I had with this one is the ears. You do one that's different, one that's right and one that's left, and so I thought that they would kind of like mirror each other, but they don't look like that to me. I don't know, like this one's higher and this part's lower, this part's higher, this part's really low. It just, something didn't work out that way. So I was like, well, do I switch them around? But even if I switched them, it didn't work. So I don't know if I did something wrong or if the instructions are wrong, but be aware of that maybe when you make your own Rye Rabbit. I did not time myself with this one, but I would say this one's gonna be 3.5 hours because you have longer ears to make along with this cute little ball of a tail. Last but not least is Tessa Toad. Okay, I did not think I would like Tessa Toad, but when I finished making her, I was like, no, I love you. You were so cute. Partially I love her because it was all one color. All one color, no color changes, no separate colors. You just need the green color or whatever color you're going to use. So total I used 130 grams of Chanel Home Slim Agave, and the feet are kind of like that Penn Penguin or Ceecee Chick feet. So that was kind of the only tricky part, but really I figured it out. It was fine and I love it. I did embroider the eyes, which I had never seen anyone embroider the eyes for her. I was worried it was gonna be weird or hard because it's just like such a small area of embroidery, but it was totally fine and I love how they turned out. So Tessa Toad, super cute, turned out great and not too difficult at all. So really good one for beginners. There you have it, you guys. That is my review for the Mama Made Minis Knotted Loveys. I just feel like I need to hold all of them because, like, look at this amazingness. Let's see if I can get them all. My kids love these. Love them. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with them. Like, should I sell them? Should I keep them? Should my kids just love on them? I don't know, but I love them. Okay, this is getting tricky. Almost there. Okay, woo! Look at that. Look at that! I love them. They're the best. 16 knotted loveys all done. I hope this review was really helpful for you. All in all, I loved trying these out and learning from them and seeing what I could make with the yarn that I had available for me. It was amazing to finish and complete. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.